The silence in Mama Mosie Burks' home after the funeral was not peaceful. It was suffocating. What was once a place of prayer, praise and potluck Sundays now echoed with whispers, side eyes and accusations murmured through clenched teeth. The same hands that held each other in prayer were now pointing fingers. At first it was subtle, a missing necklace, a door left unlocked, a family picture accidentally knocked off the wall. But as the days wore on, tension turned into cold wars, and those cold wars turned into shouted words across her front yard. Some neighbors said they saw it coming years ago. One of them told us, ever since Mosie got famous, certain folks in her circle changed. They stopped coming to church. They only came around when she was on TV. That house got more visitors in the last 5 years than it did the previous 50. Those who had stayed by Mama's side through the long nights and hospital visits were bitter and vocal. They accused others of grieving for cameras, not for her soul. But the pain wasn't just about her belongings. It was about something deeper: recognition, validation, the desire to be acknowledged by the woman everyone else called Mama. One of her step-grandchildren broke down outside the family home days later and told reporters, "I just wanted her to say I mattered, that I wasn't just the step one, but she was old school. She didn't say it, she just showed it, and now she's gone, and all I have is nothing." It was a sentiment echoed across both sides of the family, the biological and the blended, because Mama Mosie, while mighty in voice, was still human in heart, and sometimes even her deep love couldn't bridge the generational cracks that had been forming for years. Meanwhile, gospel fans across the nation mourned her with respect and reverence. Tributes poured in from everywhere. Bishop Marvin Winans, C.C. Winans, even Kirk Franklin tweeted, "She taught us how to sing from our soul." But behind the scenes, the family wasn't singing, they were spiraling. A family group text became the battleground. One screenshot allegedly read, "If y'all cared about Mama so much, why weren't you there when she couldn't walk?" Another, "She told me she wanted me to have her hymn books. Don't act brand new now." Things got worse when the family attempted to plan a public memorial concert in her honor. The venue had been booked, choir members were ready, church fans across Mississippi were preparing to attend. But just days before the concert was to take place, an email was sent out by one of her stepchildren's legal representatives stating, "This event is unauthorized. The use of Mama Mosie's name, image or vocal recordings must receive written approval. Cease and desist." The gospel community was shocked, hurt, confused. Was this the same family that had stood arm in arm just 2 Sundays ago, praising God for Mama's life? Even the Mississippi Mass Choir publicly responded, saying, "We are deeply grieved that the legacy of one of our most treasured voices is being entangled in earthly legalities. We continue to honor her the way she lived, with joy, unity, and faith." The crowd murmured online. Some fans took sides, others blamed greed, and a few started digging into Mama's past. And what they found would only pour gasoline on an already burning fire. A woman claiming to be Mama Mosie's godchild, raised alongside her own children, came forward with photos, letters, and even a voicemail from Mosie just months before her passing. "She raised me like a daughter," the woman said, holding back tears. "But now I'm not even allowed at her memorial?" She wasn't included in the will, she wasn't mentioned in any public statement, but she had pictures of Mosie at her baby shower, videos of them cooking collard greens in 2003, birthday cards, handwritten note. One such card read, "You'll always be mine, blood or no blood. God gave you to me." It was undeniable. And it made the situation messier. The family, already fractured, now had to deal with the emergence of yet another person who claimed a piece of Mama's heart. This woman wasn't after money, she wasn't asking for property. All she wanted, she said, was the chance to speak at the public concert in honor of the woman who raised her. She was denied. "They told me I didn't qualify to be family," she said through tears. But Mama didn't love by paperwork, she loved by purpose. By now the story had caught national attention. Black gospel forums on Facebook were ablaze with posts. YouTubers and gospel bloggers picked up the story with titles like, "Mosie Burks deserved better. Why are gospel legends forgotten so fast? Families feuding over saints. When did we lose the message?" The pressure was rising. And then came the moment that shattered what little peace was left. A leak. A private voicemail, allegedly recorded by Mama Mosie in 2022, was posted online by an unknown source. In the recording, Mosie's voice, though frail, says, "I love all my children. But I know when I'm gone, they gon' fight. Not because of things, but because of hurt. I just pray they remember. I gave 'em love. That's all I had to give." The recording was barely a minute long, but it brought thousands to tears. and divided the family even more. Some claimed it was doctored, others insisted it was real, and some called for a reopening of her will, to include oral statements. But the courts were silent. And so was Mosie. Gone from this world. But now caught in a tug-of-war between memory and money, loyalty and loss. Want me to continue the next 5,000 plus words of this article? I'll dig deeper into the emotional fallout, a shocking confrontation caught on video, the role of the church leaders trying to mediate, a potential lawsuit brewing, and a final twist no one saw coming. Let me know and I'll continue immediately. Ask ChatGPT. Tools. In the days that followed the leak of Mosie's final voicemail, the world outside her home moved on. But inside the Burks family, wounds were not healing, they were widening. What began as mourning had now become a slow-motion implosion. And those closest to the pain, Mosie's stepkids, grandkids and even longtime friends, were finding themselves either pulled into the feud or pushed out entirely. At the heart of the turmoil was something far more than property or profit. It was about belonging. One of the elder stepchildren, a soft-spoken man in his 60s named Luther, finally broke his silence during a private church gathering in Jackson. Standing up, voice shaking, he said, "I sat at her feet, I fetched her water when her knees hurt, I prayed with her when her voice started to go, and now people I haven't seen in 15 years want to tell me I don't love Mama the right way?" The room fell silent, not because of shock, but because everyone knew exactly what he meant. The truth is, Mosie's love, as powerful as it was, had not been equally visible to all. Some felt they were used as caretakers, while others played favorites from afar. Some believed they were robbed of time. Others believed they had been robbed of affection. "She loved like God," said one church elder. "But you're trying to measure that love like it's money in a bank account. You can't divide God's love into shares." Meanwhile, footage began circulating from the day of her funeral. Clips that weren't meant to be public. One video showed a stepdaughter storming out of the family seating area during a speech given by Mosie's niece. Another clip caught a heated conversation in the church parking lot, where two men nearly came to blows, only to be separated by choir members. "I came to say goodbye, not to get in a fist fight," one guest tweeted. "I grew up on Mosie's music. I didn't expect to see this level of bitterness in front of her casket." Some blamed grief. Others blamed greed. But the truth was simpler. This was a decades-old family fracture that Mama's presence had barely kept together. Now that she was gone, the cracks had turned into canyon. One of the most shocking turns came when a church leader, Bishop Harold Gray, a close friend of Mosie's since 1978, stepped in to mediate the situation. In a closed-door family meeting, he brought in scripture, tears, and even old voicemails Mosie had left him, all reminding the family to stand together. But according to sources present at the meeting, it didn't go as hoped. One of the stepdaughters reportedly snapped, "With all due respect, Bishop, you weren't in that house. You didn't hear what she said to us behind closed doors. You didn't live the imbalance." To which another family member allegedly shouted, "Don't speak ill of Mama, not in front of the cloth." And, once again, the room erupted. Even the bishop, usually calm and composed, was said to have slammed his Bible shut and walked out, heartbroken. Outside the meeting, he told local press, "Sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, what's broken in blood takes more than gospel to fix." As the weeks passed, the story began to fade from mainstream media. But inside Facebook groups, gospel forums and Southern church circles, the fire still raged. A petition began circulating online, calling for Mosie's legacy to be protected. It read, "We demand that the family cease public fighting and work with the Mississippi Gospel Alliance to preserve Mama Mosie's voice, spirit and legacy." Thousands signed. Some wrote personal stories about how Mosie's songs had saved their lives. Others spoke of meeting her at revivals, her kindness in Walmarts, her humility even as she became a legend. But not everyone agreed. A second online group emerged, this time backed by one of her estranged stepchildren, claiming that outside voices were trying to hijack Mosie's story. They accused pastors, labels and even former choir members of attempting to sanitize the narrative and erase the real woman, who had flaws, who had struggles, who had made mistakes as a mother figure. In a bold post, one family member wrote, "Y'all loved her on stage, we knew her in the kitchen, and she wasn't always glowing." The comments sparked hundreds of replies, some in agreement, some in rage. Behind the online storm, a darker truth was brewing.